Hey everyone, I'm Anna Berry.
And I'm Tom Biolchini.
And this is Behind the Scenes Oklahoma.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. I'm Tom Biolchini.
And I'm Anna Berry. Today we are here at the Outsiders House Museum, a very iconic spot right here in North Tulsa, something that has turned from a book, a movie, a musical, and now it is a full-blown movement.
Yep. I'd like to throw out a big thank you to our sponsors, FMAC Tulsa, the Tulsa Regional Chamber. We are so grateful. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for opening up doors for us.
Yes, thank you so much. Film, music, arts, and culture, they do so much for all of those wonderful things. Without film, music, arts, and culture, we would be nothing. So we thank you, FMAC.
Yeah.
Danny O'Connor.
Hi.
Danny, what's up?
Welcome back.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's good to see you guys.
It's always a new experience coming back in here.
It is.
There's a new collection. There's a new story. There's so much.
Always something happening in the Outsiders House Museum. But I will say there's always something happening great for Tulsa. So there's a lot of people coming here. My first fear moving from Los Angeles was the circulation. And boy, was I wrong. It's places like Kane's Ballroom and BOK Center and Route 66 and now Church Studios and Black Wall. So there's so many things here. But when I first moved here in 2016, a lot of those dreams weren't realized yet. But it was still, people were always passing through. But it's at an all-time high now, and we see so many people coming through here and so many great people coming back. You know, I was having a conversation earlier with your cameraman, and, I think it's a rite of passage for Tulsans to leave and think that the grass is greener somewhere else, and then they come back here, and they realize that, you know what, we got a good thing here. And I think literally as a native New Yorker who grew up in Los Angeles and went coast to coast until I was a young adult, and then landed here, there's no better place to be if you're a creative, because what once was in those former great cities no longer exists. That's what you have here is so strong, and so it's growing from its infancy into something just like the sky's the limit. And I feel it. I wouldn't stay here if it wasn't. I could hang my hat anywhere I want and do this remotely, if you will. But the vibe here and the synergy here is unlike anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to promote with Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. We're trying to show the rest of the United States that if you're an artist, if you want to get into film or TV or Broadway shows, you can do that in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah. You can do it in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, I know we're in Tulsa now, but throughout the entire state. So it's really cool what you've done. And by the way, it's nice to be back here. For those of our audience that didn't know, we filmed part of Mad Props, the little documentary I did on movie props here in Tulsa with Danny, showing me all his movie props. And I want to get into the movie props a little later on.
We will,
if you don't mind. I want to hit on that at the end.
Yeah, well, but some of our viewers, I'm sure they know about the Outsiders.
Some don't. Yeah.
But some don't. And so my first question, and we were talking about this earlier, is why did Coppola pick to film it in Tulsa? And what was that like for Susie to be on set with her book? So tell us a little bit about the book and
what I know of that story. Sure. So there might be someone at home who doesn't even know what The Outsiders is. So let me give you the crash course. The Outsiders is a book written by Essie Hinton, and she wrote this book at 15 and a half. It was published in 1967. It started the young adult literature category, which is an incredible category. To date, it's the number one in book sales of all time. And for that alone, she should be in Guinness Book of World Records. There'll be statues all over the place. But it finds its voice, and it finds its audience actually with young adults that are seventh graders and eighth graders who are feeling the struggle of the haves and the have-nots and finding the center. And in 1981 or 80 and 81, I believe, a librarian in Fresno, California, Miss Masikian, decided that this book was such a big draw for her students that she would ask 100 of them at the year's end of school to write a letter to Francis Ford Coppola, of all people, the director of The Godfather at that time, 1 and 2, and Apocalypse Now, to have a look at this book and at the behest of her students and see if he thought that there was interest in him making a movie, which if I could explain, it would take me hours to unpack the butterfly effect and how many things had to go right for him to receive those letters. But he did, and he read the book and he realized that it was something that he was interested in. Originally, he wasn't going to do it himself. He had I think a director from Spain that was going to do it for Zoetrope. But as things started to pan out, he ended up taking this on. Now, I know inside baseball, he wanted to come to Tulsa to get out of Hollywood because things were going bad for him after One from the Heart, which was his water world, if you will. It was his
water world.
It was if you're my age, I'm 55. If you know what that means, if you're a film buff, but basically he put all of his money into one project, and it didn't do well at the box office. A brilliant film, but the public at large didn't understand it, and so it sunk his studios. So he was trying to just go anywhere off campus, but I think he also wanted to keep it authentic since the author is from here. She wrote it right down the street at Will Rogers High School. She flunked English that year and got a D+ in creative writing, which is the brilliant thing for me because listen, I'm one of them. So, and all that to say, the movie comes out. It was not a great hit. It found its home on VHS and on late night TV and cable if you could afford it. But it becomes a cult classic, and the actors go on to great fame. You're talking Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio, Diane Lane, etc. And it really puts Tulsa on the map because it really is like a slice of Americana. When I saw it as a 13-year-old, I just thought it was anywhere USA, but my mother understood that it was Tulsa. And so years later, when I was on tour, because I used to be a touring musician, we were playing Kane's Ballroom in 2009, and I had the epiphany, Tulsa seems so familiar. I feel like I've been here before. Oh, shit, The Outsiders. And I went looking for locations, and before long, I was hooked on that these places were not only, still here, but you could just visit them and feel like it felt like the day after the movie was filmed here. It was supposed to be 1967.
Wait, when you saw that, when you came here in 2009 and checked it out, was it all boarded up?
Yep.
Okay.
Downtown was boarded up. I always say there was two things going on downtown, probably three. Two, one would be Kane's Ballroom, two, Spaghetti Warehouse.
Yeah, right.
And three, shenanigans.
Yeah, right.
Lots of shit. Yeah. So, but I felt like I was on the back lot of a studio. You have this beautifully pristine Art Deco masterpiece of a city. You have beautiful sunsets, and you have a freight train that goes through every half hour. Freight trains that go through, blowing that freight train horn.
Yep.
That is the sound of freedom to me. You don't hear that in LA anymore. They stopped running the trains down Santa Monica Boulevard probably in the early 80s, mid 80s.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So you don't like that sound growing up is like, it's an American
of course.
powerhouse sound. And it's like if all else fails, jump the train and get to another city and start again. And so I love all of that stuff. And the American dream for me and for everybody really is alive and well here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I didn't know that at the time. Went looking for locations, put those locations on this new app called Facebook, and people started freaking out. They could not believe that these places were still here. So coming from LA, we haven't had drive-ins since the 80s because that amount of land requires that amount of profit to make that viable. And there was no reason to keep any of those drive-ins. So you come here and it was like the land that time forgot, especially in North Tulsa. You can still look around here and be like, well, but it's nice, but it's like, you can't tell what era you're in. I could take photos down the street and post them and you wouldn't know. If I could colorize them, you wouldn't be able to tell me what era those are from. But it was a beautiful thing for the movie and for a fan like me because I was like walking back into my mind's imagination of a 13-year-old boy who saw this in Woodland Hills, California, and for the first time said, that story is how I feel inside. My father was in prison when I was 2 months old, and I met him a few times. My mother was at work constantly, and we were latchkey kids. So I needed a family, and it wasn't in doors where I found that. I had to go outside and build that family. Yeah, right. And that's what I saw The Outsiders do. And I thought if the best life gets is us running around with denim jackets, looking out for each other, sneaking in movies, so be it.
So that was 2009. You said you were on tour.
Yeah.
So when did you officially, and I know it was not an easy process to buy this house.
Well,
but what year did you buy this
so
house?
2016, I bought it. When I got here, it was for sale for $42,000, and coming from Beverly Hills, I can assure you,
That's cheap.
nothing with the word real attached to it. He's smiling because he knows what can be bought for $42,000. I mean, you can't park overnight in Beverly Hills. That's real. People don't know that. You cannot park a car in front of your own house. I live in an apartment, qualified, but you still couldn't. If you live in the apartment, you cannot park overnight in Beverly Hills. That is the law. Now, if you're a resident, you can get a code. You call this number, you write it on a thing, and you put it in your dashboard, and you get like 15 nights a month. And you think that they're not on it like that? They're on it like that. And so I got a car impounded and never seen it again because I kept playing the game and not getting the permit. All of that to say, $42,000. I could not believe that, one, the outsider's house was still on earth. Two, that it was for sale for $42,000, and three, that I was just smart enough to pull the hook out of my mouth and go, Danny, let it go. You are not allowed to buy the coolest greaser fort known to man, because I have no idea what I would do with this thing.
Right.
But for the next 5 years, I started doing this thing called urban exploring based off of the photo that I posted online. And because I'm such a pop culture buff, and this is kind of how we connected over the wardrobe pieces, but as a transplant from New York, when I first moved to California, people like Todd Bridges lived in my neighborhood from Different Strokes, and Adam Rich from Eight Is Enough. And there was child stars in our park playing, or at the roller skating rink. And I was mesmerized. I'm like, where can you sit and watch TV on Friday night when there's 3 channels, maybe 4 with the local, and see those people and then be in the park on Sundays playing football with them? It was like surreal. So I was bitten by the bug of Hollywood. But in this new era where a cell phone had everything on it, from navigation to video camera to a recorder to your own station, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, Friendster, whatever back then, you could content create. So I started hitting a lot of historical movie locations, true crime locations, album cover, photo locations, and doing before and after.
And you know I'm a sucker for those.
I showed you didn't I ever show you my page?
True crime stuff?
No, not the necessarily
All of the stuff
true
that I'm
crimes.
telling you, the locations?
I just love the location things.
Yeah.
Bro,
I've been doing this since
time.
2009, and I have like hundreds of people all over the world that do it. We have a thing called the Delta Bravo Urban Exploration Team. Deduct 2 points off your card for not knowing. And you know,
you probably have told me this before in the past. I'm just saying I'm a big fan of those. If I know a location like where something was filmed, I'll use the Goonies house. It's an easy one,
Of
right?
course.
If I get a picture of what it looks like now and what it looked like back then,
that's what I do.
Every time I stop, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Anyways.
what I do. No, that's what we started doing that. I don't think there was many people doing it. So urban exploration, when I heard the term, I was like, that's what I do. But it was really for people who go to Detroit and go to like the old Packard factory, or the audio industry had imploded, or in, Canada, they were doing a lot, because all of the stuff from the industrial age had kind of collapsed, steel mills and breweries. And so people used to sneak in and do that. But I was like, we kind of do the same thing, but with pop culture locations. So we went, I could give you a back street tour of Hollywood where your jaw would drop. People who grew up there would be like, dude, how do you know every freaking location of everything? I know.
Can you do that with Tulsa? Because
we can do it with Tulsa.
At least what we have here.
I want to tell you that we had a bus provided by Bama when we first built this house and got it up and running. We were going to do those tours. It's just hard to, with a population of 400,000, 1 million proper, if you're counting all of the local people. Were like, I kind of can figure out that myself, or go. So we couldn't get that. It's not like Hollywood where you could have a TMZ bus and pack it all the time. And we don't have that many locations, but we have a lot of Rumblefish, Tex, and Outsiders locations. So those are good for me, but it's growing. And as we know, this is what we were talking off camera, that the movie business here and the creative business it's all of those things are like bubbling to the top right now. And that's the impetus to, not only stay here, but to like be here.
Yep.
And this is a place you have to stop when you come to Tulsa. Like, how did James Franco end up here?
I know. That's what I'm asking myself. And why didn't they tell me when they're, no, I know. I met him in LA, but back in the day when he was doing this James Dean thing, I used to see him in a certain room, and I'd be like, what does this guy think he's James Dean? Nobody knew who he was at the time. It was when he was like in character for, yeah, no, I was like, they look like the poor man's Johnny Depp or Richard Grieco, but there he was. And now he's James Franco. I heard people who were in the house were like, he's kind of weird. Something I saw that guy, I was worried about him, but I guess, that's Hollywood guys. And,
it's on the Monopoly. The Outsiders House is on the Tulsa edition of
We've
Monopoly.
been so blessed. And listen, I'm glad you said that, because I bought the house with no real plan.
You had one poster.
I had one poster. I prayed after leaving Tulsa. I said, God, I wish I just knew one person here that I could just dig into this thing with, and one friend. And sure as shit,
You can say it. It's a podcast.
Zach Matthews appeared in my Bubba. Shout out to Zach. And I used to sleep on his couch. I used to drive my old cop car from LA to Tulsa, Oklahoma on a 2-day trip, sleep on his couch and just stalk this house and fantasize on what could be. And I kept saying, why don't we find a way to buy this house? It used to be for sale. It's off market now. I'll give you the cliff notes. We ended up finding the owner finally. She was absentee. She lived in Florida. She inherited the house. Her husband had passed away, bought it. We called her cold. I had my friend on the line, a Tom-esque kind of guy who can get a deal done. I have a problem selling dollar bills for 50 cents, Tom. I'm a real creative, so I can't do any real deals. But I had my buddy, who's my main man, Don Dean, on the phone. 1, he's never been to Oklahoma. 2, he's never read The Outsiders. 3, he doesn't even know what that is. He couldn't believe that there was a home on earth for $42,000, but he was willing to go along with the ruse and give this lady a call while I hung on the third party line, whatever. And he said, ma'am, I know that you own this house and we know that it's off market, but we are interested. If you're ever interested in selling it, we'd like to hear your number. And she said, your timing is fortuitous. I am interested in selling, and I won't take a penny less than $20,000. To which my friend countered, ma'am, with all due respect, it's a shithole, and I wouldn't give you a penny more than 15. She said, I concur, but you have to wait 30 days because the tenants are 8 months behind, and they owe me $4,000. And so I want to tell you that we agreed, but it was the longest 30 days of my life. Not only did I not want to do the dealing because I would have overpaid anyway, a pastor number just to get it done. I was afraid that she would Google me if she found out who I was and think that I was rich.
Yeah.
And I tell all the people who will listen that I made more on accident in the 90s than I've ever made in the 2000s. And that is just the way it is. And I'm cool with that, but I ended up paying $15,000 for this house. When I got here, I realized why it was $15,000. I'd only been on the outside of the outsider's house. The tenants left me parting gifts. I did end up paying them $4,800 to leave, but this place was stacked to it was bad. Yeah. Bad.
I remember renovations.
You were one of the first people over here interviewing. So, but the word got out that I bought it, and the community showed up, and the fan base showed up, and before long we were working on a museum. Now, originally that wasn't the plan. Originally I was just going to buy the house and didn't know what the plan was. I was like, maybe I'm the new homeowner and I'm just going to live in Tulsa part-time and do creative stuff. And if somebody susses out that this is the outsider's house, maybe I'll let them see my one poster that will be in Pony Boy's room.
One poster.
I had nothing. Yep. So I put the bat signal out, and we did a GoFundMe, and money started coming in. And then I was like, this is incredible. Like, it's people really do care. Because I thought, how can this house be bought for $15,000 if there's real Outsiders fans in the world? I thought I was the last holdout on the planet. But we started to get $100 here, $1,000 here, $150 here, $50 here. I was like, what? And then I started to panic. What on earth will I show these people?
Yeah, right.
But again,
okay, so walk me through that. You had one
poster, and I want to tell you, that's a $250 poster. When I bought this house, $20,000 would have really cost me to get the key, because I had to give the tenants money because I did not want them scorching earth on the way out. Kicking out walls and pulling out copper. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a 9th grade education, and this is all beyond my pay grade. I broke in my window when I got here because they did not really leave me keys, and I was literally in tears. Like, dude, I just flushed what little savings I had down the tubes for something that. But I asked for help, and the help came. And I always talk to kids and say, man, growing up as a kid, where I came from, if you didn't know something, you better not let people know that, because we will body you if you you don't know where to get that, you stupid we would oh man, we would beat you. We would verbally assault you if you didn't know. Like, that's like street code stuff. Like, you just can't not know. But that nearly killed me so many times in my life because I needed help so bad, but I couldn't. My pride and my self-esteem, pride's way up here, my self-esteem's way down there, and I can't find my voice. I tell kids all the time, that's crazy talk. Like, should never let anybody convince you of that. I don't know where I got it from, but everybody I talk to from my area is like, I know, why did we always feel that way? These kids now have different tools, thank goodness. I don't know, where but the kids that I come into have no problem verbalizing their feelings or whatever. Well, you had to hide those when I was a kid. You had to tuck those way deep. You couldn't say, even in my home, you can't tell nobody
my daughter loves
my
to
feelings
tell us how
hurt,
she
or like,
feels.
what? You get a smack where I'm from that talking like that. But point being is I asked for help and the help came. And now I'm in panic mode because what am I showing you guys, But
So you went from one poster to how many?
the
different
largest
props
collection
do you-
of Outsiders memorabilia
Wow.
in the world.
It's impressive.
Wow.
The book's been translated in over 33 languages, and we have as many copies as I know that exist. If there's some out there, I don't even know. If there's ones out there, which I'm sure there are that I don't know about, I don't have, but there's not ones that I know about that I'm still looking to get, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you a question as an avid, active prop collector and an avid, active prop collector yourself. Out of this whole museum, if you had to pick one thing,
Yeah, I already know the answer before you even got that out.
it's who's your favorite child? Questions. Glad you know.
No, I do, for sure. If the house is on fire, when we just got a fire suppression system, shout out to the fire suppression system that donated that to us. So we're trying to, it would be Matt Dillon's, a.k.a. Dallas Winston's leather jacket that ended up in Susie Hinton's hands.
Yeah.
And then she donated that to me. Out of the characters in this movie that were my favorite was Matt Dillon and Ralph Macchio. I wanted to be Dallas Winston so bad it hurt, and I could relate to Johnny because Johnny was super cool, but he had like been hurt, and he was trying to he was just trying to get everybody to see the bigger picture. It was dude, hurt people, but I'm not gonna. I don't think it's cool to hurt anymore. Like, remember, I don't know how well you know the book or the movie, but when he tells them they won the Rumble, he's like, "It's so what? That's free money. That's the train that goes by."
Train.
You know the movie. You know the train.
The leather jacket. I want to see that leather jacket.
We will. We'll get some close-ups. It's out back.
I gotta ask you of all of your props because you have hundreds of them too. What would be your favorite?
Well, I actually brought one of my favorites.
Okay.
But give me a second. I'm going to go grab it.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'll hold your mic.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And I want to know while he's off camera, I got a question for Tom because Tom is like, he could be a fit model. You know what I mean? He's got like an Adonis body going on.
Totally.
Tom, have you ever worn any of your props? Because I got a lot of props and a lot of wardrobe, and I'm like, man, if I was a little bit smaller, I'd put Dolly's jacket on and I'd wear it out one night. Have you ever done
today might be
anything
the
like
day.
that?
I have
because I'm
space.
6'6".
So I always try to
Today's the
try
day.
on anything I can.
I like it.
Today might be the day.
Right.
But like the Spaceballs outfit that I have,
Come
right?
on.
It's one of I couldn't get in it. It was too small. I'm so smaller than these people. So like, it's interesting how they go. Okay, so I want your reaction
when.
on this guy and to see if you can guess it.
I can because you got a sticker out the front of it, and it tells me who it is.
I ruined the darn surprise.
No, but you know what? And I will call Peter Green. Here, we'll give a little.
Wow. So here's the problem. It doesn't fit my head. I've tried so many times. No, I'm just kidding.
So I got on speakerphone Peter Green. So he's the cop, Zed, in Pulp Fiction.
Zed's dead.
I'm calling him right now.
Zed will answer.
It's probably too early for him. He's a late night character.
Is he? That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's
So yeah.
So this has nothing to do with the Outsiders.
Your call has
I
been
just-
forwarded to voice.
I can't believe I ruined it. I want to see
No.
if you could guess it, and you could.
I
see
would
the
have never
picture
guessed
what
it because
was.
the shawl that you threw over it would have thrown me off. I would have thought Medusa. I know the movie well. I did not know Peter Green at that time, but we ended up in House of Pain. Everlast from House of Pain worked on a movie with Peter, and that's how they met. For again, Peter's Zed. Zed's dead.
dead.
And he's an incredible actor, and we became good friends. I literally talked to him 2 nights ago. I tried to call him, but last time we were in your office when we saw this piece, he was here. We actually did a movie. We did 2 movies together here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Is that right?
He loves it here, and he's one of the persons that I'm talking about coming back and teaching. Because he's at that point of his career where he works, but he can go, do what he wants to do. And I think he'd make a fantastic teacher because he's tough, but he's like, he doesn't suffer any fools, which is a good thing if you need somebody just to like give it to you straight. And the dream now, and we were talking off camera, and it's super important because when I built this, I had no idea what I was building. I was building for me. I was trying to preserve a house that was super special to me, and the buy-in was cheap. But even though, looking back, $15,000, I was like, dude, you stole it. Yeah, but at the time, it was a fair deal. I mean, I bought a teardown.
Yeah, right.
The community surrounded me and rallied for me. This is why it made moving here so easy. I will never leave here. You guys are stuck with me. But the economic impact has been incredible for this, not only Tulsa, but for this neighborhood in particular, we're in North Tulsa. North Tulsa has like, it's the other side of town, proverbially. It's what she's talking about and the outsiders and the ripple effect that cleaning up this house and refurbishing this house has been, it's hard to quantify. I know there's numbers, the city came back and redid all of the cement here, redid all the pipes here, redid all the gas works here. All of the stuff had been refurbished since we built it because they were like, all eyes are on us now.
Yeah, right.
But the byproduct, the thing that like it just went right over my head. I never even factored in that this would be a draw for students reading the book. And last school year alone, we had over 6,000 students, and they come from 5 different states. Texas, Kansas, Missouri.
Awesome.
I don't do those tours, but I've been here, and the kids, they go bananas. They dress in, greaser garb. Even the socias. Nobody comes really as a socia. No offense, Tom. But, that's it.
I'm a soc?
Hey, bring out the gimp. But super social. But
that's hilarious. Sorry, Tom.
Sorry, Tom. Put the 2 points back on. You're good. I'll give you 2 back.
I'm not a greaser.
That's it. Well, that's the greatest. But that's the beautiful thing is that the kids from like Monte Casino and all, they come all greasered up. I'm Kasha Hall, stop it, guys.
But I was saying that I connected with Cherry because I went to Kasha and Bishop Kelly, and I was the soc who loved the bad boys, who loved the greasers. And so when I saw the movie, immediately I got her. I was the pristine little girl sitting over here like, oh, don't bother me. But man, I hope I never see him again.
Golly, you might fall in love. Exactly. No, and that's why that movie, and again, how does a 15-and-a-half-year-old write all of that? First and foremost, shout out to Issy Hinton, who is still alive and doing well, living in Midtown. And to just see it go from a book to a movie. There's a TV show that most people don't know that in 1990 came out. Half my friends were cast in it. And shout out to David Arquette and Robert Russler and a handful of others that are no longer with us, but it didn't do well. But it was Coppola and S.C. Hinton. It was just the timing was bad. The premise is that takes place the day after Dali dies. And the 90s were just about, grunge music and the second coming of hip hop being, Cypress Hill, House of Pain, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep. It was just, we weren't ready for the outsiders again, in my opinion, right? But now it's a musical. It's a hit musical on Broadway. 4 Tony Awards, nominated for I think 12, and there's only been 2 musicals in the history of musicals nominated for more at 13. So it's like this little thing steals the show on Broadway. It's sold out. We just sent one of our friends out there. He had my hookup was that he could pay like $300 a ticket. Like they're not even. I'm saying,
so
and
expensive.
It's like you can't even get tickets for this thing, and now it's going to go to London and debut there, and then it's coming here next fall at the PAC. So it keeps growing. Unlike a lot of, listen, we're blessed because every year there's a new crop of students that are discovering this book. It is the librarians and English teachers, one of their favorites to give kids. And it's a portal to like this whole other universe that exists. And when I was a kid, my mother used to say, if you want to hide money from Danny, hide it under the soap or in the books. He'll never find it. And that was a true statement, right? But as I got older, I realized, man, like what I had missed out on such great, a whole other world by not reading. And today, I do my best to try to force myself to read a book a month, which I don't do. And I was talking about it last night to my girlfriend. I was like, look, I need to, because we have so many ways to give the stuff, but there's something special about reading that it's like a different connection. And these kids in 7th grade, all of the things are going on around them. Where do they fit in? Are they a greaser? Are they a soc? Do they have enough?
But now there's a musical component too.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about in banking, obviously, is return on investment. Imagine the return on investment the state of Oklahoma has received from this film being filmed in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is everything from what you've done here and the traffic that you bring, the tourism that wants to come by this house, you just fixing up the area. And then now that we've got the Broadway show going on in New York, how many impressions is Tulsa getting?
No, tons.
How many times are people hearing Tulsa? And it is which obviously is part of the state of Oklahoma. And so everybody benefits and everybody wins from one small investment. And that's why I'm saying I'm hopeful, Danny, that we will continue to support film in anywhere in the state of Oklahoma.
Of course. And that's
because not all of them are going to be the outsiders.
No, of course not.
But it does create tourism. It brings people to this state. And then all of a sudden people will realize that the state of Oklahoma is actually this culture of art and entertainment.
No,
And
listen.
the backdrop. I mean, I don't think a lot of movies were filmed in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1983, right?
Yeah.
No one would have thought, let's film
of
something in
course.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. But now people are, because they see the north side of Tulsa. They see the beautiful, iconic Deco district. They see so much.
Excuse me,
The
don't let
next
them
interview.
in. We're live, guys. So the museum's about to open. Just tell them to go around, whoever it is. Who is it? I can't.
Probably Channel 8.
They can wait. Just tell them we're not open. We're doing. But to that point, so I want to tell you something. This brings me to my other point. So
Please.
We built this. We didn't know what we were building. We just thought we were building a greaser fort for middle-aged men to look at my poster, the
right.
director's chair that was donated from a local cop who retrieved it, Gary, rest in peace. Susie gave me Dolly's jacket, and we ended up building this massive collection and it's beautiful museum. Then the students started to show up in mass, and we started to do the student tour. So we're blocked off Monday through Thursday, isolating just for the students so that the students get to come here 3 days a week to the public, where it draws from 80 to 150 people a day, unsolicited, no ads. It tells me that there's not only, that this is like, it's like a living, breathing thing, but it's now forcing my hand in a way to like think bigger. And the bigger thought is to make a museum with all of S.E. Hinton's work in there for people, whether you're a valedictorian and Mensa card holder, or you're someone like me who was falling between the cracks and music saved my life, a place that we could show you all of the works from this 15-and-a-half-year-old girl and the tree that grew from that, and then build in an incubator and an educational component where on Sunday or Friday through Sunday, you could come talk to Peter Green about character development and acting, or talk to, Sterling Harjo on how to write your authentic voice from an Oklahoma. Like, there's such authenticity here. It's unmatched. And that's a guy who grew up in Hollywood and a New Yorker to the core. Even though I grew up in LA, I was always identified as myself as a native New Yorker. And I've loved both coasts my whole life, but they've been scrubbed of their grit and their integrity and their real authentic voice. It's just been muted with all of this. It's here alive and well, what I was trying to say. And you don't, because I have disdain now for, you get away from it long enough and you look over to both sides and I'm like, really? Like, what happened? Because there used to be, I grew up in the Valley, and the dream was to get over the hill, which was literally like a 10-mile thing, but it was an eternity to get over there. And then if you could move there is one thing. Can you last there in Hollywood? But if you could sing, dance, act, rap, whatever your thing was, if you could make it fly there, you had a fighting chance. And it was like a bohemian lifestyle where you could live in a cheap apartment off of Melrose and get something at Trader Joe's, the original Trader Joe's, and like just eke out a living, and you could be the next big thing. That's dead. Where you can't
dead.
live.
I did that. And
yeah, me too. But that's what I'm saying. You can't do that in New York anymore. You get a railroad apartment for $4,000 on a 6-story walk up.
Right.
And if you can't even afford to keep a bike in that piece, like, where are you going to park? So you can't do that anymore. And I'm telling you, Austin and Nashville are old ideas.
Yeah, Tulsa's
like
the place.
they're knackered at this point. It's 20 years out the frame, and this is here. This is now. This is like, if you're creative and you're looking to restart, like I did. I'm like a ex-rapper who was treading water in Beverly Hills trying to keep the dream alive, but with nobody was throwing me a lifeboat, you know what I mean? And then I happened to come here and see like an opportunity, and it's given me purpose. It's changed my life. And what I'd like to do is be that for somebody else. And we're going to build, come hook or crook, downtown North Tulsa is the ideal. Let's just say an S.E. Hinton museum, whether we call it that or not, but a place where people can come, your kids, the future kids, and learn the craft, and also be, mesmerized by all of the stuff that we don't take advantage of here, because this is an authentic house. We can't add holograms and digital stuff here. This is very authentic, but we want to do that there.
I see.
And so the sky's the limit.
Interview.
It is. Well, I'm going to come in and bank and ask for a loan. You know what I'm saying? So that's it.
Yeah,
But,
heck yeah.
Danny, as we wrap up this interview, I would love for you to kind of map us out some
historical locations.
Yeah, some urban exploration here in Tulsa, so we can kind of see some of those landmarks of not just the Outsiders, but Rumblefish, and maybe a few others. So we want to.
I'll give you the list that you can post for after this. But I will tell you what, when I came here, I went to the drive-in from the movie, the Admiral Twin. Beautiful drive-in. A year later, the screen burned down. They restored it, and it's still alive and well. Circle Cinema in 2009 was boarded up. You guys almost lost that. That was almost demoed too, but it is one of the. It's by far my favorite theater in the complete planet. All kinds of independent films. We even do our 12-step meetings there on Sunday, which is crazy.
Mad props.
Mad props. That's right. That's where. So, and that's also where S.E. Hinton wrote about. Those are the two real locations in the book. So if you know the book, those are the real locations. The railroad track that passes through right over here on Utica is from the film. The park from the movie is a block away from the Outsider's house. It's called Crutchfield Park.
Is there a place to stand in that park where people can recognize it?
No, well, that's where I need your help as well, because we're going to try to put plaques and statues in there so that we could be like, damn. We have plaques. So we have Rumblefish and Outsiders plaques. We have one at the Circle Cinema on 3rd Street at the Bend. There's a scene where Mickey Rourke and Matt Dillon are on Rumblefish and riding their motorcycle through town. And then coming the other way, there's Matt Dillon and his name I'm going to forget, of course, from Rumblefish. Ugh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, we've put plaques there on 5th and Main. There's a plaque in the alley from Rumblefish. And I'll put a list together, but there are a lot of places from the Coppola Susie era that are still here. And then there's Tex too. That was Susie and Disney. So there's a Tex location. Everybody remembers the Camelot Inn. It was before my time.
Yeah, I remember it real well.
Everybody remembers
Hotel.
it.
Yeah.
The guitar-shaped pool.
See, everybody knows.
My dad helped build that.
Okay,
hotel.
so
some stories of the penthouse.
Oh yeah, there's
That should
crazy
have been
stories.
saved, by the way.
Right?
I'm so glad people like you step up and save this because that should have been saved.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, it's been such a joy speaking with you. I would love to continue, and we will continue, especially when you open your S.E. Hinton Museum.
Yeah.
So many people support you, but most importantly, you support so many people.
Well, it's reciprocal, and FMAC to all of the wonderful people there, Renee McKinney and Meg Gould. I always tell her, stay Gould. It's an inside joke. They've been so supportive, and that's just a handful, man. We have so many people who have stepped up and made this thing possible. I get all the credit, but I don't want all the credit. It feels disingenuous because I want to give back by keep doing what I'm doing and telling the story and testifying to what happened here. You guys are the reason what makes Tulsa great. There's a lot of great things here, but it's the people here that really have a genuine interest. And I mean that from, and that's real. Me and you at first, we were like, look, let's see what's going, we are from two different worlds, but we saw the same sunset.
Exactly. That's
and
that's a great way to put it.
Well, that's S.E. Hinton. That's from the book.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you're a Notre Dame guy, I'm a Subway alum, which means I'm just a fan who's Irish and it claims it, but you're the real deal. And
Danny wants me to get him up to a Notre Dame game.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, not I'm the home opener. Come on now.
Okay.
Keep it 100, bro.
Well, Irish.
Try to cut the budget real quick.
Fighting
I
Irish.
caught him. You see?
Irish.
He's like, $10. What do you need $5 for? Here's a buck.
I don't have $1.
Awesome. Well, yes, like you said, thank you, FMAC. Film, Music, Arts, and Culture is thriving and so alive here in Tulsa because of all the work they're doing. We thank them for being a sponsor.
And we need more. We need more film. We need more Outsiders. It's good for the state. And thank you, Danny.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Stay gold.
All right. Thank you all for watching.
Won't you head on down to Tulsa? There's a building there, and your spark's lost its flare, and you ain't going nowhere. Sit on steps and let the breeze